let's start over here at gallery. So gallery is a place, a storehouse where you can put all of your work, all of your everything that you've ever done on Procreate can go here into this giant library. So it's nice, but then over here at the top right, you can hit this plus button, which can create a canvas size that you'll be working on in general. So by default, the screen loaded up, it took up the whole screen, which was screen size. But you can also do, like for NFTs and yeah, your NFT characters, you can hit square and it'll create a perfect square. This one's 2048 by 2048 pixels. But you can also change it and create your own custom. You can do 3000 by 3000 if you prefer, and you can change the DPI. The bigger the size is, the less layers that you can actually work in on that particular canvas. So when I first started, I really enjoyed using 2048 by 2048 because it gave me, I think it's about 100 different layers that you can kind of mix and match and have fun with while you're developing your NFT character. But the bigger you go, the less layers you're allowed to use because it's taking up too much, I guess, memory or the overall resolution. So anyway, that being said, so gallery, you can go ahead and you can add your own canvas onto that. I'll just go ahead and create this little circle here because we'll start working into the next part of this. You can go here to this wrench. You can scroll through where it says insert photo. And this is fantastic for like adding your references. So I can grab this seal that I got off the internet and I can just put him up at the top left corner. Whenever I'm drawing or creating something, I can just kind of look back at this little seal dude and I can add some of the characteristics of the seal into my cartoon character, which is pretty cool. Quick little reference. Let's see. You can actually, whenever you upload a photo like this, you can untick it and tick it back in because it's on its own layer whenever you upload a new photo. You can also delete this or we can put it right back. All right, so let's go back to that little wrench. You can take a photo, which is basically like using your actual iPad and taking a photo of something if you wanted to do that. You can add text, which is a fairly new concept for Procreate, which is actually really, really cool. Especially if you like create like an NFT character and you want to like put something on a shirt, you can like add the text right there, right in Procreate, and then we can kind of manipulate it to fit into that particular character, which is really cool. So here we wrote it out using the text keypad. Then you can go over here to the fonts. Make sure that you select it. You can go over here and we can change the type font that we're going to be using. Also, what's really cool is that you have a thing called style, and you can change that font. You can make it lighter, regular, or semi-bold if that's what you prefer. You can also adjust the size. You can do the tracking, which separates the wordage. And you can also throw it to the left. You can center it, or you can throw it to the right, depending on how you want to use this. A lot of graphics designers are kind of gravitating to using Procreate for reasons like this. It makes it a lot easier to kind of manipulate things and get some things out of your head and onto the canvas in more ways than one nowadays, which is awesome. You don't really have to worry about these other ones. Canvas is like a way to like crop, resize what you already got going on here. Share is like the files in which way you want to like export them. You can export them as a JPEG, PNG, TIFF, PSD, and so forth. You can even do animation now, by the way. So you can animate GIFs, you can animate, it's exactly like you would think when you're creating like a story or a slide. Whenever you're doing like animation step by step, you literally would do one piece at a time and create an entire animation. You can do it all here on Procreate, forgive me, Procreate. Another thing is if you come over here to video, Procreate automatically records everything that you're doing on the Procreate application. So if you were to create this really awesome design that took you like 3 hours, it records the full length 3 hours. And then it also records a 30-second version, which is like a quick time-lapse version of what you just did, which is a kind of a cool way to look back or maybe showcase it to your friends and family that, hey, this is what I did on Procreate and this is how I did it. And they can see step by step as it evolves into the picture that you created. You have your preferences, you have your help, cool. Let's see here. All right, so for this part, I'm just gonna clear this up because it kind of gets a little confusing. We're gonna hit this plus button. I'm gonna grab, let's do like this purple color. I'm gonna grab purple, put that right there. All right, so this is the adjustments layer. So here you can change the vibrancy with saturations. By default, you want to keep it at 50%. You can change how bright it is, how dark it is, Put that back at 50%, which would be like the default. And you can also change the hue of the actual color, which is pretty cool. You can do all that like pretty much on the fly. So let's go back over here to this magic wand. Color balance, same deal. Curves, it's kind of like RGBs, which is like your reds, your blues, your greens. You can add how much of those you want to add into your actual color that you already have on that layer. Gaussian blur is a way of blurring out the image, which is fantastic if you're like creating like an NFT character and you have a background and then you want to like kind of blur out the background. And by doing that, it adds like a focal point, which would be your NFT, which adds, yeah, it basically zeroes in everything into this nice focalized thing so people could see it and it looks great. So it kind of removes a lot of the busyness out of the background is what I'm trying to say. And all right, so we got that. Let me go ahead and hit 2 fingers and we'll start that back to where it was. We have sharpen, bloom, glitch. Glitch is cool. It's kind of like same deal from left to right. We just drag it and it can add these cool like little effects. I'm not really a big fan, nor do I ever really use it, but it's kind of there as an option for you in case you're into that kind of stuff or you want to add some kind of crazy effect to your NFT. Liquify. Liquify is a great one. I use that actually a lot. It's a good way to kind of, if your proportions aren't quite right, you can kind of just go like this and you can kind of adjust that shape. It's like a fun way to manipulate the design and manipulate the shapes. You can also add like swirl to the right. You just hold it and it automatically will start swirling, or you can do swirl to the left. Just another cool little effect that you can do. You can do pinch, which brings everything into like this almost like a vortex type deal. If you hold it long enough, everything kind of gets pinpointed into the center. Whereas expand is like inflation, and you inflate it on the whatever you're holding it at on the shape there. Kind of like blows it up a little bit. And you can, if you don't like what you did, no worries. You can just hit the reset button. It goes all the way back to where it was. So with that being said, let's go over to the next one, which is like the select. So freehand is, if you're familiar in Photoshop, you can just kind of cut things out. These are called marching ants, as you can tell. They're kind of like they slowly start moving across. You might not be able to see it on the camera. Apologize for that. Anyway, so you would kind of cut out a part of the shape that you want. You can grab this, which is like the little select tool, and you can just pop it right out. You can hit the reset, put it right back to where it was, start it again. Let's say you want to freehand something else. Let's cut this, and I'll show you another really cool trick. You come over here to the magic wand, hit saturation, and you can actually adjust that particular color that you selected. So now it becomes two-tone. So I can unselect and bam, like how easy that was to get 2 different colors on the fly. So we'll go back and undo all this. Last thing I want to show you about the cut tool or the freehand tool is to grab this, and down here at the bottom you can copy and paste exactly what the name suggests. You copy and paste the exact cutout that you just started with. Another cool thing about that is that whenever you copy and paste something, it goes on its own separate layer. So you can always like undo, or redo, whatever you want to do, and delete it, and then it's gone. So that is pretty much how that would work. I'm not really too familiar with rectangle or eclipse. I don't really use any of those. And let's see here. Uniform. All right, so when you come over here to this little icon with the little mouse, you have, this is like the way to scale your overall layer, whichever layer you're using. So for this particular case, we have uniform. Uniform is a great way to open and close the scaling properties of your little guy. You can move him around. And if you don't like the way that maybe he's too small, not a big deal. Hit the reset button, go back to where you were. So let's try another one. So that's uniform. And then we have freeform. This one's a little different because you can actually grab the corner and you can kind of manipulate it getting small or big, and you have an option. It's not uniform, as you can tell. It can be completely random or different shapes, and it would stay and stuck that way. If you don't like it, no worries, reset. We come over here to distort. Distort is, if you can envision like in New York or something, and you got all these bulletin boards all over the place, and you want to maybe add like this cool scene where the perspective is kind of going in an angle, not so much facing you, but more like, let me show you, like more like this. You can grab this corner and you can bend it until it becomes that exact angle. So that's a really cool way of kind of distorting things. And this last one is called warp. So warp allows you to kind of bend it as if it was like almost like a sticker or something. You can kind of manipulate it that way, this way. Cool thing about warp though is that if you're using it for like I use it a couple times on my NFT characters or for other people and for freelancing wise, I created like a text and I created a place for the text to live, right? Like on a t-shirt, like a design. And then I kind of warped it around the character. So it looked like it was kind of like not just flat, but rather it went around the t-shirt of the character. So it kind of looked more something like this with the wording and the font. So it just adds a little extra dimension of like realism to it, which is a fun way of using it. You can use it however you want, but that's just off the top of the dome how I would use it, I guess. Okay, so we kind of went through all of the main settings, but we're not out of the woods yet. One last little spot. I'm going to change this to black, studio pen, undo button. Okay, so here, this is the brush size. I could do full size. I could do a medium size. I could do a small size, and they can get all the way down to just a tiny little line. On the flip side, you can also add how much ink or paint is coming out of this thing, the density or the opacity is what they call it. So we can do it a dark line. We can actually lower the opacity. So it's like a more of a gray, then a light gray, then a really light gray, and then pretty much white. You can almost, I don't think you can even see it now, but it's there. Anyway, so you have all of these cool little options. And I just want to show you one more for the road here for this particular part of the course. I'm going to add this color here. We're going to open up another color and we're going to grab, let's do green, right? Let's just get real crazy. We're going to do green. We're going to fill this in. And then we're actually going to just kind of do one of these and kind of get like this little weird mid-tone between the two colors. All right, there we go. I'll get a little something going on here. Don't have really the best brush for this, but I'll show you exactly what I'm trying to do here. Okay, so this little button here is the color picker tool. If I wanted purple, I just go right over top of purple and it loads it into the brush. So now I'm using, oops, make sure the opacity is high. Now I'm using that exact purple. If I want to use green, no worries, color pick, grab the green. If I want to grab the color in between, now I got the color in between. If you can tell, it's a little bit different. Or if I want to grab maybe this color, it's a little bit more different, but it's the blend color in between those things, and I can color pick whichever one in between that I like, which is a nice way to kind of load your pencil or your brush up with some nice colors. All right, so with that being said, that is exactly how you navigate Procreate.